Hi YouTube, I'm Alexander Mattoni, co-founder and head of engineering at Cycle.io. Now recently I wrote an article about the complexities of doing a cloud agnostic backup, right? So for example, you've got things like data sprawl and security and compliance and all these different things that go into it that make it really complex. Add on to that the difficulties of doing it across different cloud providers, or maybe even you have some on-prem stuff, and all of a sudden doing a simple backup doesn't end up being so simple. So today I thought it'd be fun to show how to go from 0 to 100 with a Postgres container on Cycle, where we deploy the Postgres container, seed it with some basic data, do a backup of that data, delete the data, and then finally do a restore, all within this video and using the default capabilities of what Cycle is able to do. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump in and get started. All right, so I've set up an environment here on Cycle. I've got our load balancer, discovery, all these different services running, and I'm gonna be connecting to our Postgres container over Cycle's native environment VPN. So we don't even have to expose our database to the public internet for this demo. So to get started, I'm gonna hit deploy, put in the name of the container. In this case, it's going to be Postgres. Now, this is really important. We need to set the container as stateful. On Cycle, stateful containers are treated as high priority, static instances that cannot be auto-scaled, and they also have the ability to have volumes attached to them. So we're gonna be able to attach a volume and configure backups for that container as long as we mark it as stateful. And I have recently imported a Postgres image. So this is just the default Postgres image from Docker Hub, nothing special there. Cycle's identified a volume that we are going to attach to this particular container, and it's given it a default size of 5 gigabytes. That's fine for our purposes. I'm gonna leave this as disabled. Like I said, we're gonna be accessing it over Cycle's native environment VPN that's deployed with every environment. I'm gonna go ahead and hit deploy. All right, so we've got our container ready to go here. However, the default Postgres image on Docker Hub requires for the first start that we actually add a Postgres password environment variable for the default password. So to do that, go to config, runtime settings. We're gonna put in Postgres password, and I'm gonna make it super simple. This is just gonna be test, and go ahead and hit save. All right, now we're ready to actually start this container up. So I'm gonna hit start, and hopefully, oh, that was pretty instantaneous. This container was able to start up almost immediately. So we've got a Postgres instance running right now, and ideally, I should be able to access it. So I'm gonna switch over to our SQL editor that I'm gonna use so that we can seed it with some data. Hit connect here, and I'm going to hit Postgres SQL. And then since I'm going over the private VPN that I've set up, I can just put Postgres as the host, since that is the host name of this container. And then database is going to be Postgres, username Postgres, and that password is going to be test. So let's go ahead and test this connection, see what we get. Looks like it's working. All right, we're connected. Okay, I'm going to hit finish, and now you can see that we're accessing our Postgres database here, completely empty. Great, let's open that up, make sure there's no tables or anything in there. All right, completely empty. So I've got a couple scripts here to seed this. Looks like that one didn't save, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy in my script there. There we go. So this is basically just gonna create a new table called users, and they're just gonna have a basic email. So I'm gonna run that. Oh, no action. Oh, these are not connected to the script. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to right-click SQL editor on this database, paste that in, run. There we go. We've created our table. And then I'm going to copy in that other script here. So this is just going to create 10 random entries of random emails for these users so that we have some basic data to prove that our backups are actually working. If I hit start, great. We've inserted 10 rows, and we should be able to see that here by refreshing tables. There's our user table, and double-clicking that will get us our data. All right, so you can see here we've got 10 emails that have been added into this Postgres database. Awesome. So the next thing we need to do is actually set up our backups. And in order to do that on Cycle, it's super easy. Go into Config, Integrations, and you can see here we have backups available. I'll click backups. Now, I'm going to take a moment to talk a little bit about Cycle's approach to backups because it's pretty awesome. So as a platform that runs applications for other users, Cycle cannot make assumptions on what kind of data that it is you're backing up or that you're saving. And it would be potentially catastrophic if you're running some mission critical application and Cycle decides to freeze your volume to take a snapshot or something like that on some random interval. So in order to work around this problem, we came up with the solution of, instead of snapshotting volumes, we'll just give you a command, or you give us a command. Cycle will run that command within your container. So it could be a script, it could be basically whatever you want. And we'll capture the standard output, package that up, and ship that off to a backup integration. And so what this allows us to do, which is really awesome, is a lot of different things. Number one, we're able to abstract the backup process. So Cycle can automate your backups, but you're in charge of what those backups actually do. So it provides extreme flexibility while still being able to automate it. The second thing is Cycle is by default cloud agnostic. So we're not worried about all of the different nitty-gritty details of Google Cloud, AWS, my on-prem stuff. All of it gets paved over and abstracted so that I can utilize backups the exact same way, regardless of which cloud I happen to be hosting my stuff on. And then third, the restore is actually the same exact thing, but inverse. So Cycle's going to feed in the backup as standard in, and your command can process that and do whatever it actually needs to in order to restore that. So in the case of our Postgres system, we can use PG backup and PG restore, which understand a Postgres database far better than a platform would be able to. So you can even see here that Cycle has detected that we're probably running Postgres because of the name of our container. So if I hit use Postgres commands, we can check out some of the defaults that it's got provided here. We've got the Postgres password being passed in. It's in quotes. This is important if you want to be able to utilize environment variables in your script. And then it's running PG dump as our user and clean. So it's going to create basically a zipped up backup for us, export that to standard out, and Cycle's going to gobble that up and ship it off to our destination, which in this case, I've got Backblaze already configured and ready to go. So I didn't set these environment variables here, so I'm just going to hard code those as the values. You can obviously set these as you will. Postgres is also the default database. Timeout, how long to run that command before Cycle says, hey, this probably isn't working. I'm just going to give it 5 minutes. And then our cron string is literally just a cron string. And in order to get a backup relatively quickly here, I'm going to have one run every single minute. And then finally, for our restore, same thing. We're going to run that as Postgres. Oops. And then finally for the database, also the same, Postgres. And we're going to also put a 5-minute timeout on that as well. Now I'm going to save this. Cycle's going to restart our container for us. And within, a minute or so here, we're going to start getting some backups on this screen. Now I'm going to try to stop that so that we're not taking one every single minute. But ideally, we're going to be able to back up the data that Postgres is saving from here, ship that off to Backblaze, and be ready to go. So I'm going to give it just a minute here, and then we'll hopefully see a backup coming in. Let's see. In the meantime, we can take a look around here, see all the different settings that we've got. Oh, there. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that didn't work. Backup command failed or destination writer incomplete. Okay, well, that gives us something to take a quick look at here. Connection to server on socket failed. Oh, I think I might have actually made a typo. Great. Well, you can see that Cycle will actually identify when our backups are failing. Yep, there it is. All right, hit that, save the container. Let's try that again. All right. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and just delete these old backups that we don't need anymore. Right, those are deleted. You get to see the full process here. And while we're waiting for that, make sure I didn't make a mistake on the other one. All good. Still waiting on that backup. All right, there we go. 10 kilobytes backup. Empty output here means that our command worked correctly this time. So great, we've got our backup set up. I'm gonna go ahead and stop those so we're not making one every single minute. Save that. And let's refresh the connection to our database. Refresh here. Make sure our data is still there. Excellent. So data's still there, but somebody made a mistake. Our database crashed, some horrible thing happened, and we lost our table. Just like that. So production scrambling, things are down, we have an emergency. We're gonna have to restore that back up. And as you can see here, no more data is left. If I hit refresh, nothing there. So if I switch back over, we actually want to do a restore now. So I'll go to the backup that we took earlier and select restore from the list here. If I hit restore backup, within a matter of seconds here, Cycle is going to have our backup ready to go and restored back into it. It looks like it just accomplished that. Oh, there we go. So no output again, no errors. Cycle has successfully restored our database using that pg restore command. So let's prove it. We'll head back to our SQL editor. And now I'm going to refresh our tables again. And as you can see, our user tables is back. Let's verify that our data exists. And there we go. There are our 10 email accounts that we had added at the beginning of the video. So as you can see, from start to finish, deploying a Postgres instance, seeding it with random data, backing it up, deleting that data, and restoring it, all extremely simple and straightforward on Cycle. We've paved over the complexities of all of these multi-cloud, various different cloud provider distinctions that exist, and we're able to easily restore it regardless of where this happens to be hosted. So, hope you like that. If you want more information, check out our website, check out the article that I wrote below, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.